cool look.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the DJ Light Podcast.
Pow, 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 pow.
He's on it tonight, ladies
On
and
it.
gentlemen. He's on it. On it.
DJ Rick Webb. Erik
Dude with
Massengale.
glasses.
Dude with glasses.
We're never going to let that one slide. And tonight we're joined all the way from NYC, well, Long Island, right? Long Island. We got Brandon in the booth, Red Max. What is the brand name at this point? Like, you got like 7.
So we have 2 for.
Or have you
for the events.
consolidated? Is it consolidated
Yeah.
now?
Red Max Events is the main one, and then we have Red Max Products, which is what we do debut at the expo every year. So
Gotcha.
Gotcha. So
Yep.
just two. You had like 4
Yeah, I mean,
at one point.
yeah, I have some other companies and brands and stuff, but those are the 2 that
No biggie.
pertain to this.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, don't worry about those.
I got a couple other things in the works.
side projects. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
well, we have like the Christmas experience and stuff. That's its own company, and so.
Yeah. So if you don't follow Brandon, I'll give you a warning. He's the definition of a serial entrepreneur. Like, literally just starts a business out of everything. And
Well, let's just
anything.
start about let's go back to quarantine fucking live streams, and we're all talking about like how much we hate the word. Everyone's pivoting and doing something different. Brandon actually fucking
right.
pivoted and did
Not
something
even
fucking
fair.
different.
So prior to COVID, because we'll go down the rabbit hole, but prior to COVID, were you DJing? How do we even like? I don't even know what
I was
because that's kind of when I met you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel like COVID
I
changed your
started
whole
as a
landscape
DJ.
of like your company and everything you guys were doing, unless that was in the works to start with. But
No,
predominantly,
it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, I always had a bigger vision than just being a single op DJ, and it started to morph into being a bigger vision than being just a multi-op DJ company.
Mhm.
But never would I have imagined that we'd be doing exactly what we're doing today in 10 years, let alone just after the pandemic.
Right.
So yeah, but I started as a DJ. I was like 13 years old. I don't know if I was actually DJing. I think I was just pressing buttons and pressing play and pause on tracks, but was doing a lot of like family parties and friends of family parties and school events. And then I got a photo booth, and I started actually for my sister's wedding. She wanted a photo booth, but she was spending a lot of money on a wedding band, and she was about to kind of ditch the idea of it. And I said, you know what? I DJ. I see all these DJs are adding photo booths. Let me look into something. And she was actually at the point where she was going to just put an iPad out with an app that she found that does photo booths. And this is like when iPad photo booths really were like not even a thing in the photo booth community.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what, that's interesting. I'll build some kind of casing for it, like the other photo booths that use surfaces and stuff. I'll mount the light in it. I'll make this whole thing. We'll use it for your wedding, and I'm sure I can sell it again. And then that's really like the last thing I could think of that just kind of snowballed into everything else of like, okay, now I could add a hedge wall backdrop. Now I could add TVs. Now I could add this. Now I could add that. And it just became this never ending thing of like, all right, what can clients potentially rent from us, and what can we get to have in our inventory?
yeah. What would you describe? So like your current state of the company, what would you describe what you guys do now?
Yeah, so we're really like an experiential marketing fabrication company, or like creative fabrication company. In the New York City market particularly, there's a large need for this, and there's a lot of companies that don't do everything we do. They specialize in like one particular thing, and there's a good spot for that. Like they definitely, they get work, but we really capitalized on like being a one-stop shop for those same clients and event planners and event agencies that would have to shop at a print place, at a fabrication company, and at an event rental place. And now they pick up the phone and call us, and we can handle all those for them.
Yeah, so predominantly it's a lot of custom stuff now. That's what I see you guys. I mean, that's why you guys invest in these giant printers.
Yeah, it's a lot of custom and a lot of mostly corporate. I would say 9 out of 10 jobs that we do now are corporate for some kind of brand or company.
Cool. And Yeah, I mean, it's crazy where you guys have gone with it in terms of just being so. Because like a lot of the stuff I dabble in custom stuff. We've talked about some of the things I've done with like trees and
Hmm.
shit like that. We're actually making bunting banners because they want custom colors now for this corporate event next week. So there's that.
Hmm.
But so
You still do your drumming though. I see your posts
that's where I
still.
was going drumming.
I do drum a lot still. And people ask me all the time, either why do you do that, or they'll call me in like a pinch and they're like, "Hey, I know you don't really drum anymore, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I definitely do. I've been playing drums since I was 4, so that's like fun to me. I stopped for a while when I was taking the business a little more seriously in the beginning because I was like, "All right, this is where I'm going to make a living. I'm not going to be a rock star. I'm not going to go travel the world in a rock band." So I kind of stopped playing drums. And then I saw that people were playing percussion along with wedding DJs. And that's when I kind of got back into it, like when I was at my senior year of high school or so. Um, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I still do. So the reason I still play percussion is because for me, it's a lot easier. It's a lot stress, a lot less stress on me, and I could still run and operate everything I am on my company's level.
Hmm.
I could have trucks out doing jobs that I managed all during the week and made sure they're set and good to go. And then I show up for 4 hours. I play drums. I have fun with it. It doesn't feel like work.
Right.
Collect a nice little paycheck, and I get to go home. And if I need to, I have so much downtime when I'm drumming because I don't drum for 4 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's all
I
the
mean, it'd
formalities in a wedding that,
Yeah.
I'm not, I go out to the lobby and I sit on my phone so I can answer emails, I can call my guys and check in, and I could still kind of handle my business
uh,
and not interfere with the quality and attention I'm giving to the party, but also not interfere with my company where I feel like I'm pulling away from that to go help someone else. Because when I do play drums, it's freelancing. I work for any DJ company that
yeah.
calls
You
me.
just
So
right. Anytime we get a call for, it's not even necessarily a drummer down here, but some sort of like musician
Instrumental.
fusion situation. Because that doesn't happen here. And if it does, it's very rare. And I'm always like, where are you from? Like I have a
New
feeling you're
Jersey.
from New Jersey
Or
or
New
New
York.
York or
yeah.
like just one of those like, up north states. Because like it just doesn't happen here. But now that we're kind of operating, in New Jersey, all those I'm just like, and talk to Greg. Perfect. Talk to Greg. Don't know. Like,
Yeah.
but that's cool. It's, I guess we're more simple down here.
So, what does it take to run that sort of thing? I see you got a lot of people working on the day to day, building and custom, trying to prototype a lot of this stuff that you guys are making. What's like
Yeah.
the back end side of things now? Like, what are you staffing at this point?
So we ran about 6 people all through the winter, and which is our slow season.
Mm-hmm.
Full time in our office. That's 40 hours a week. And we have enough work that we're working all 8 hours, a day, besides lunch breaks and stuff. It's a lot of, like you said, just kind of prototyping, or a lot of it's just like trying different things because this stuff is so custom that we're doing. 5 out of 10 times there isn't really an answer, and our team kind of learned that quickly, of like, even when they come to me with an answer of like, "Oh, is this how we're doing this?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's try it, let's see if that works,
Uh-huh.
let's see how we're going to do that." We just had to create this wall for tomorrow with these curved corners, and they're 20-inch deep fabricated wall structures, that we had to get not only like wiggle board and plywood that's bendable to create the outside shell, but we needed a 1.5-inch molding that goes around it to mount our LED strips in. And so it was the first time we were working with a rubber molding, and it's a molding strip that's actually bendable. So you can bend it to where you need it, shoot it in, and then paint it. So a lot of just little like trial and error stuff. We were seeing plaques for Amazon, and we cut them out. We put them on the wall. We were like, we don't like the way this looks. It looks out of proportion. Let's go cut a new one. So that's kind of what keeps us busy on the day to day of just trying different things, figuring things out, between designing graphics in the office, actually running and producing them on the machines and operating the machines. And then our team in the workshop that's building and fabricating pieces. Then I have painters that will call in periodically once those pieces are ready to be painted and finished. Um, and then we have our crew that goes out and sets things up, that goes out and does our runs with the trucks during the week to go to Home Depot and pick things up to keep our shelves stocked. I mean,
That
it's
was
never
actually going
ending.
to be a question of mine. I was wondering because I don't know like Long Island stuff. Do you like have a Home Depot and shit like this? Like,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah, so we have Home Depot and Lowe's is honestly where we do most of our shopping. We have commercial accounts with both of them, but that's where we buy almost everything from paint, wood, hardware, everything like that. And then we have some specialty local like hardware places or plywood places that we can get our like nicer finished pieces from. Um, we actually just got for the MailChimp event, I was showing you guys the arch. They wanted these cylinders, these 12-inch cylinders that were like black and white checkerboard and whatever. So we actually found a local lumber shop that sells plywood cylinders all finished and you just cut them down to
Jesus
whatever
Christ.
size. So we got those and then we vinyl wrapped them with the checkerboard and painted the tops and stuff. So, but
What
yeah, we shop primarily
I
at
can't even
what's
imagine.
the
Lowe's and Home
stress level
Depot.
like on making some of this stuff? Like, I feel like there's got to be like a lot of really close calls. Like tomorrow's the event. We're running. We still haven't really figured this out. I feel like that's like what's the
Yeah, I
lead time?
mean,
Do you like talk to these clients about like how much lead time you need to make sure that this is plausible to get it done?
yeah, I guess I mean the thing we always say is everything is possible. If you put the right dollar amount on anything, it's doable. I
Right.
don't care,
Yeah.
people say, "Well,
Yeah,
I don't have the
absolutely.
manpower." I don't have the manpower. Okay, but if you made 5 phone calls right now and you needed the manpower and you had unlimited money, you would get that
Yeah,
manpower, right?
yeah.
If you needed this material overnighted, I mean, actually, we ordered something from North Carolina, an SEG frame system with built-in LEDs and stuff. We ordered it last minute for a corporate client. We needed it to get to us the next day. They put it in a crate, threw it in a van, and a guy drove straight overnight from North Carolina to us. And I showed up to my warehouse at 8 o'clock in the morning, and he was next door at the deli. I called him. He drove around and unloaded this thing. It was a private courier service.
That's
But
crazy.
to that point, I mean, they literally said to me on the phone, they're like, "This is impossible to get to you tomorrow." And I'm like, "Do you have it on the shelf? Can you put it in a crate and drive it here overnight? Because North Carolina is a 12-hour drive, so that gets it here by 7:30."
And they're like, "Are you
I,
crazy?"
they said, "Let me make a call," and they came back and they said, "For $1,700, we'll have this at your front door tomorrow."
It's
That's
like
fucking
So
let's
dope.
do it. That's so,
yeah,
I
it's crazy.
I can't even imagine the learning curve as you progressed. Basically, I'll say like how many L's you had to take on that learning curve of properly pricing your jobs. I don't even know how the fuck you. And obviously, you're way more knowledgeable of all these details than I would be. But there seemed to be a countless amount of moving parts and like things you have never even worked with. I'd imagine.
Mhm.
Like your recent project, you named like two or three things you'd never even used before. So as you're,
Mhm.
and I realized your profit margin's higher than nothing, so you got some wiggle room, I would imagine, but I don't know. That's probably really fucking hard.
So I'm curious on that too because we're starting to dabble. We got a good relationship with one of the bigger venues that does a lot of the bigger corporate events for like Ashley Furniture and a lot of our
Mhm.
headquarters that are based in this area, and we're starting to do some more customary stuff for them specifically because that's like a niche they want to get into. You know exactly what I'm saying. The corporate clients will pay for something that's really tailored to their brand and their vision and the message they're trying to convey and whatnot. But a lot of times we've been able to go back to them and be like, hey, so what we quoted originally is not possible. Like it's going to cost more. And I'm curious, is that sort of the same sort of deal along the lines of what he's saying, where you can go back to
So
some people or it's a mixed bag?
100%. So the corporate world we work a lot with agencies. So we work with these creative agencies, these design agencies that are hired by the Fortune 500 companies to basically just make sure their brand is being portrayed the right way, pick the colors, pick the elements, hire the florist, make sure everything's tied together and whatnot, and hire the fabricators and so on. So we work a lot with these agencies, and they're the ones that are working with an overall budget. They're not billing the client item for
Yeah.
item. The client doesn't even know item for item what they're getting.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just that they have to allot the budget accordingly. So with that said, I mean, pretty much everything we create is custom, like you said. It's not off the shelf. It doesn't exist in a catalog. You can't just Google it and press add to cart.
Right.
There is no, it doesn't exist. So because of that, to a certain extent, it becomes a name your price thing. And as long as they can afford it, they can afford it.
Yeah.
Pricing things is interesting because there's always that like, okay, this is like probably what it's going to cost. But like you said, what if we do have to reprint this? What if we do have to rebuild this? What if we start to put this thing together and it
It just ain't
doesn't
working.
stand up on its
Yeah.
own, or it's not working and we have to recreate? So we have kind of figured things out to a good extent on our end of how to figure that out and make it, make it work where we have room for that error and for that play. And when we don't need it, works out in our favor, when we don't have to use that extra that we built in. So, um, but it's a tricky game. It's trial and error. It's knowing materials, being able to quickly search materials and judge, okay, if this
Yeah.
sheet of plywood's 60, let's count on it being 120 because we might decide
Need a whole nother one.
want to get a nicer finished or need a different one or a second one or whatever, So yeah, it's definitely interesting, but it's the same thing of, for the DJ industry, anything you could do to put their logo on your front board, to put their logo on your photo booth itself, or hang a custom, you're talking about the neon signs, like hang a custom neon sign on a
We're
hedge
doing
wall.
one
Like
this weekend.
even something as simple as that
Hmm.
allows you to go from charging X amount for your hedge wall to XX amount just
Yep.
because you put their logo on it. Like it's that simple.
It's funny, the venue we work with here, they're doing kind of like that agency thing on a small scale. So they're like the agent for the clients. I've talked to them before. Basically, the client gives them a budget, and then they're the ones paying us to do the stuff, and we're negotiating
Okay.
with them on like,
Hmm.
hey, we can do this, and they're just trying to get really creative and custom. They got these big budgets to work with, and honestly, the way she talked to me, she's like, I just really want someone that can help us make a bigger impression on these people, so that they keep wanting to come back every year and work with us and spend their budget at our venue, which is
Yeah.
kind of freaking dope. But
It is that, and that's the one thing I learned too is like to just always go one step above and beyond for them. And so, like, yes, a lot of times it's very rewarding and they can give you a large budget or they can give you, a little bit more than what you might normally get for a particular thing. And if you could just go the little extra to make sure everything is perfect or add something additional or, I mean, a lot of times like we do print in house, so it's easier for us, but
mhm.
a lot of times we'll print two of everything. We show up to the event with two just in case something gets damaged and they get the extra set. So, hey, we have
Yeah,
an extra of this logo. We have an extra of this. You guys want to take it? Do you want to put it somewhere else at the event? And that goes a long way because it just, to them, it looks like you're not taking advantage of their budget and that you're just trying to make as much profit as possible, but that you actually care about like maximizing their budget and being fair. But these companies, these agencies, the Fortune 500s, I mean, they're in business to be in business and make money. They know we're the same, they get it. They're not trying to
yeah.
bargain and look for the best price. So,
Hmm.
So you mentioned this in our pre-show, but all this customary stuff you have to make all the time. Do you ever try to make them with the intent of, oh, we could take that graphic off it and reuse this potentially in the future for another client? And then I guess, is your warehouse getting overstocked at this point with all the random custom stuff you guys are making, or do you like disassemble stuff after a while, or try to repurpose?
so it's a loaded
It is.
question that I'll try and keep in short. And it's a little complicated for us, but basically, being able to reuse something is a gray area. We sign a lot of NDAs. We sign a lot of like contracts with these companies where we're fabricating pieces that by contract have to be destroyed. And like we've
Damn.
literally taken pieces outside with a sledgehammer and destroyed them and put
Oh,
them
Sick.
in
that's a
a
fun
dumpster
Friday. Friday.
because we have to, you know, they just for the
It's
amount of money they
crazy.
paid us and for it being custom and proprietary to them, they don't want it being used for, you know, anyone else, and
Hmm.
rightfully so. So
Yeah.
um that is one exception. There is some other stuff that comes back that's just fucking cool, and we want to hang it on the wall or put it up in our, you know, meeting room or whatever for people to say just as like a talking piece.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
we might never rent it out again. We'll just keep it there until something cooler comes back.
Right.
But that's kind of part two of it. And then part three, which is usually when the client's budget isn't as large as we'd like to fully fabricate something from start to finish or with the best materials or whatever, is when we'll go the route of designing it in a way that we could easily reuse it. And that's something that, you know, it has to make sense. It's not going to be like a 3D sculpture of their logo. It's going to be something that we could easily rebrand or swap something out or just put a new color of paint on it. But some of the pieces we have going out tomorrow, actually, like this custom desk we built, they didn't have the budget for us to fully build it just for them kind of thing.
Hmm.
So we ended up giving them some restrictions on design and size and colors and stuff so that we can have it as a more generic desk that we can then have in our inventory. So that kind of answers your part one, part two of the warehouse being
Yeah.
full. Because of the other business, the Christmas Land experience that we have, it's a Christmas walkthrough that we produce. And so a lot of what comes back that we can reuse or repurpose, we send there. It's kind of like our graveyard, but
Uh-huh.
we repaint it. We'll make an arch that comes back,
Hmm.
painted red and white candy cane stripes, and
Hmm.
put it over the candy cane forest. And we use a lot of wall flats and a lot of things that we build for events. We just send them there and repurpose them because we do produce that anywhere we can, you know, save a few dollars on build or material end on
Hmm.
that end. It, you know, helps us out. So
So
and it saves us space in our warehouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
so moving over to Christmas, your Christmas land. That was the first year of it, wasn't it? Just
Last year
past.
was first year. Yep.
So are you guys no longer doing that Christmas? You did like during COVID, the Christmas at the museum where there was all the lights and everything. Is that still
Yeah.
going on, or
So
is it
we
moved
have
now to
not been doing
Christmas
that.
land?
I still have all those wire displays. It was actually a
Oh
little sad
God,
last year because they all just sat on pallets collecting dust.
we need to
But
talk. I might need them.
yeah, we didn't do that last year. It was a lot. It was fun. It was worth it, but this new experience was just more fun for us with the direction we're going with events because it was indoors and we could get a
Climate
lot of,
controlled.
you know, creativity flowing and fabrication and stuff. It was easier than driving around several, you know, dozen acres with a golf cart in the freezing
In the
cold
freezing
trying to
cold,
wire up
ice,
Christmas
and
lights, you
yeah,
know, in 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. So I mean, we've been at Christmas Land basically on a weekly basis since January, working like one day a week, just rebuilding for next year. So we kind of
nice.
taking our time with it and whatnot. So
And Christmas land's built almost like a selfie station in a way. Where I these things really haven't made their way to North Carolina, but there's a couple now where it's basically like a little
like Museum
place.
of
There's
Illusions
all these
or
like little 10 by 10 areas where they're just photo op areas,
so
right?
those are very popular by us. There's like Museum of Illusions and there's Museum of like ice cream or candy. There's one called Candytopia. There's a ton of these ones that yeah are
Hmm.
pretty much identical to what you're saying. They're like these 10 by 10 rooms that you take photos in and whatnot. And so we saw that idea, but ours was a little more unique in the fact that we built it out to be entire environments. And so we had a 20-foot by 20-foot candy cane forest, fully
Hmm.
vinyl wrapped floor, 12-foot candy canes, 10-foot candy canes, 6-foot
Yeah,
candy canes, all commercial resin, red and white twinkle lights, white drape around it. I mean, fake snow on the ground, like everything. And it was really like an environment that you got immersed into. We built a life-size gingerbread house that you could take photos in front of and inside. We built like a ice maze and all this different, you know, these environments. So similar to the fact that like the main point of it is a photo experience for you to walk through, but for those who might want, you know, might not want to take photos or just to kind of set us apart, we made it more of like an environment thing. So we would say that we had like over 20 different environments that you can go through, walk through, take photos. The environments allow you to take more like videos. You could take full 360 videos inside of them and really feel like you're in it more so than a 10 by 10 room with some prints.
We me and my wife, weird, that's fresh, that's why it's weird, by the way. So no, we were in Las Vegas, right? And it's when I proposed, right, originally. So we're in Las Vegas, super original, right? So anyways, we're in one of those little photo op studios. I'd never seen one, but there was one kind of by the In-N-Out burger, like whatever. It doesn't matter.
Never been there.
But excuse me,
Dying.
the kid working there, right, his little Asian kid or whatever, and he like followed us around with her phone. It was like she like unlocked her phone and handed it to him. And he basically would tell us per room how to take
pose.
Advantage
To
of
pose.
the,
That's cool.
you know, and yeah,
I've never been to one of these rooms. So.
it was pretty cool, you know. I mean, the first one, like whatever, like looking through a mirror, whatever the fuck we're doing, right? And it was funny because there's like a family behind us with the other worker, and they're trying to lag. You can tell because we're taking forever or whatever, and they're like waiting for us to move through. And the final one is a flower overhang thing with a backdrop that looks 3D. And you know, Rachel was like, "Oh, what do people do in this one?" And he was like, well, you know, usually like fake proposals, but you know, it's kind of stupid." And I was like, you know, maybe we could try it. You know, I was like, well, you know, we could do this one, you know, because it was like I had that fucking ring in my pocket, and I was like, I didn't know what to do, you know, and it was like
had
the
no
perfect. I did have a plan, but Rachel's fucking aggressive, and she ruined
amazing.
my original plan. We were at the Bellagio, and I was just gonna do it in their little
with
art
the
room.
flowers,
yeah.
yeah.
And we were there, and it was super busy, and I was like, "Ooh, have this sweet old lady take our picture." And I was gonna do it then because she was gonna take forever
like,
and
just-
care. And Rachel's like, "No," and like asked this fucking dude who was just in such a hurry, you know. And I was like, "Oh my god!" So it just fucked it all up. Anyways,
So you made the mistake of not hiring a photographer.
that would have been so hard, and
No, it's
fine,
not.
whatever.
It's so easy. I did it. It's not.
Whatever. No, I did not hire a
It's not
photographer.
hard.
Actually, I did, and it was this little Asian kid. But it just happened to not be the original plan.
That's
so.
hilarious.
Anyways, you know, we walked up there, and I had the ring in my pocket, and I pulled it out or whatever, and went down on my knee and stuff. And she thought it was a prop, and she just like gives me the finger, right? and then like she sees I'm like turning red, kind of thing, and
blushing.
and looks closer because I mean this definitely does not look, you know, it's fucking real ass diamond ring, and but the kid is like taking a video, and the family behind us, the mom or whatever, was like, "Oh, like he is proposing," and it was like a fucking ordeal, and I got it all on videotape. It was super fucking funny. So I really like those little photo op things. Yeah, super cool. That's my story with one.
That's awesome. Yeah, we had someone propose in ours too. It was pretty wild. We had a duck come through. We had like
A duck?
people
Like
celebrating birthdays.
Did you say a real
Yeah, I
duck?
don't know if,
Oh
yeah,
wait,
don't
no,
know if
I
you've
remember
heard of
seeing this on
seductive.
socials. I remember seeing this on socials, like they're following a fucking duck through your Christmas land.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing ever. But this guy, the duck's name is Seductive. He has an Instagram account,
Yeah.
and
You're talking about a real duck.
Yeah, real duck.
a real duck. He ran the New York City Marathon. He's like famous. It's like this little duck. And so this guy messages me, messages the Christmas Land Instagram, and he's like, "Hey, would Seductive be able to come visit? We're going to be in town, blah, blah, blah." And at first I was like, we don't really allow pets, or like, and then he wrote back this whole like paragraph that kind of made me like second guess it, but also
He's
like,
like,
all right,
"We'll
this guy's
sue
weird.
you if you say no."
No,
No, it was like
basically-
we're ex following can grow your business this way.
No, it was like a reverse psychology thing of like, well, Seductive is a real duck. He's an emotional support duck, blah, blah, blah,
Oh
whatever. He's
God.
got
Oh,
tons of followers and all this stuff. So then I actually clicked on his account, though. He had 106,000 followers.
You're
All of
like
his videos on his Instagram get like 56,000 views. And so I'm like, all right, you know what?
advertising.
Maybe this duck can come in for advertising. We'll give him free tickets, whatever.
uh-huh.
So I told him he could bring the duck down, whatever. And as long as, there's no issues and he's, not causing any harm or whatever to our other guests, then that's fine. So he brought him through, and I mean, it was adorable. He took a picture in front of our Deck the Halls sign, and
Hmm.
we crossed it out and wrote Duck the Halls.
And then
And we just,
animal control just shot
yeah.
his ass. Get
but
that out of
but we
here.
have fun with it. So we had a lot of unique, experiences inside of our selfie exhibits.
So, not to get too nitty gritty, like you don't have to get nitty gritty into the details on that business, but is that like, how does that work? Is that like you guys solely run, is that like a partnership deal in that? And then is it purely based on ticket sales? Is there any other way that that makes money or?
So I have a partner on that business. He does some Christmas pop-up like dining experiences. We also did a Grinch one this past year
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
that we popped up. So we partnered on Christmas Land to produce it. He is very good at like ticket sales, marketing it, the Facebook, the text message blasts, all that stuff. And my team is more the production and the building. That's what we
Gotcha.
do.
Yeah.
So we teamed up to kind of produce this thing and rent the space and whatnot. So we're actually just renting the space from the Tanger Properties Mall. It has nothing to do with Tanger. They're not
Yeah.
affiliated in any way, but we're their tenant. And so we just rent the space out, we produce it, and yeah, we charge per ticket. There's a few other like we have a hot chocolate stand in the back that sells hot chocolate and baked goods
Yeah.
and little tchotchke stuff. So it's not solely ticket sales, but essentially it's a ticketed event.
Yeah, so there's no like big sponsor like segments or anything like that that people walk up to the
Correct.
fucking State Farm Christmas display or something like that.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, cool.
None of that.
What?
Very interesting.
So I remember in COVID times, COVID days, you were your original flip was to do the plexiglass blockades, right? That was like the
Yeah,
first kind of pivot.
The
it
segmenting
was.
of
Um,
Um, Yeah, so I took 2 weeks off, I think, as did most of the world,
yeah.
because we were told that's all it was going to be.
yeah.
And then I started to go crazy, not having anything to do. So I, noticed the supermarkets were putting up shower curtains, and all the local stores are putting in these contraptions of plastic and whatnot. And
Mm-hmm.
I started going back to my office just to like work on the computer, shoot videos and such. And um, we were building, or at the time just starting to build our own like LED event furniture and staging that's made out of aluminum tubing and extrusion, and then acrylic. But in that case, it's a white acrylic that lets the
Mm-hmm.
light shine through. And so we were used to working with those materials, and I was like, wait a second, I could just kind of build this in a rectangular frame and put some legs on it and put clear acrylic in this instead. And so I went and ordered a few sheets of clear. I built two prototypes, and I started designing some models in SketchUp of some other like counters for um, barber shops and like a medical counter or whatever. And then really just started like Instagram messaging and sending blasts out. And then we started getting people interested, and they were like, can you make this custom to our space? And at first, that wasn't the intent. The intent was to build these like 3 foot versions and 6 foot
Yeah,
versions
just
and
sell
floor
'em.
standing ones and just sell them. And then the messages kind of changed my mindset on it. And I was like, wait a second. I mean, if I'm just going to go back to the saw and cut the aluminum anyway, why can't I build it to 3 foot 6 inches or whatever size they need?
Mm-hmm.
And so we really really focused on making them custom then and marketing it that way.
Hmm.
And I mean, we did local courthouses, we did trading desk companies in the city, we did barber shops, we did pizza places, and everything was like fit to their counter custom. I mean, the pizza places, we made them, they wanted to be able to fit 4 pizza boxes under the cutouts.
Hmm.
So we made the cutouts on the
Mm-hmm.
counter to fit that. we did tropical smoothie, and we made the cutouts. We made literally a tall one, just enough to fit a smoothie cup through,
Uh-huh.
like perfectly custom for them. And so that
Yeah.
was really, yeah, the big first pivot that kept us busy for a while.
Yeah.
I will say, unlike North Carolina, they probably actually got their lifespan usage out of those in New York.
Yeah. Well, you probably still use them, honestly. I bet they haven't even taken them quite down everywhere.
Yeah, there are a lot of businesses, like public places and stuff, a lot of like fast food joints and stuff that still leave them up. It's funny, like the tropical smoothie I go into still has ours up with our stickers in them and stuff.
Mhm.
And then there are some that have taken them down, though. A lot of offices and private buildings that we did, they all took them down.
Yeah.
Well, now
All
that
the
they
trading
realize
desk
COVID's not
companies.
even real, yeah, why even use it?
Yeah. We had one trading desk company that we installed like probably 30 something custom guards in
Uh-huh.
all in between all their cubicles. We basically they had regular office cubicles. I mean, when you think about it, it's I mean, I hate to say it because it's going to make me look bad, but like it was a joke. Like we literally took their office cubicles that were 16 inches off the top of their desk, and then we built a 12-inch piece of clear plexiglass on top of them to make them taller. Like, and then there
Right.
was still space above that.
Right.
And
Just in
quite
case
honestly,
Kyle
in-
went, achoo!
Right. It reminds,
and in
yeah.
most cases, like you sit next to the person in another cubicle,
Oh, yeah,
and
back
the
to back.
plexiglass
Yeah,
is
back to back.
is in front of you.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
It reminds,
it was
yeah, it
an
reminds you of
interesting
those
time.
like COVID memes you'd see of like, like marching band students with like a mask
cut-
on, but a hole cut in the mask
For the flute.
you
or
know, like,
whatever.
and just obviously not the same, but that just reminds me of that. Man, I posted about it. I threw away. I had a stash of masks in my car, and my car has a really small center console, so it just took up the entire center console, and I've hated it ever since. I also hate the masks also, but
Yeah.
it was just annoying that I still had it. And the pediatrician that my kid goes to finally ended the rule on wearing masks, and I was like, fuck yeah, fuck these masks.
So-
And I finally threw them away.
When I don't even know if I'm thankful that like my company was like one of the first ones that were like, we're going back to work and we got to wear masks. But like that was like early May. They told us maybe like late April. They're like, yeah, we're going back. And I
2 months
I
in.
instantly went online like looking for mask manufacturers and printed the DJ Life mask and bought like 400 of them. Instantly put them up for sale and like sold them all out almost like within like a month. And dude, I need message the people that still have those masks, because I guarantee no one's wearing them anymore. If you are, I mean, shout out to you. But
I love
like
the-
literally that was like the biggest like little like COVID like win. Like just bought like
Yeah.
400 of them, sold them, made a couple $1,000s, and I was like, yeah, COVID win.
People wearing the like water you know how like office buildings have the water you can drink, and it has the huge water tank
Yeah.
on top, and like cut neck holes out of that and just put that over their head. You've seen pictures like
No.
Oh, there's
This
so
is the
much of
meme
that
guy
on
over here.
Instagram.
I loved when the designer companies started catching on, and the designer companies were making like masks that were like physically appealing, but literally like mesh fabric with
Right.
no
Just-
medical
just
thing in them at
just
all. Like,
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it was
just
literally there
look
was,
pretty so that you could get into a place.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and they would have like the gold
Crazy.
chains attached to them and everything. Like it was complete fashion bullshit.
Right.
Oh my
yeah.
It was a wild time.
Yeah, wild times are right. But so, I mean, yeah, you were building all these custom plastic things. And I guess, I mean, and yet again, I don't really know, but that just like, you just got deeper and deeper and deeper. And now you're building fucking,
Is that like
archways for Pornhub and
so I like
stuff.
alluded to it, but like
Hey,
I-
repurposed for Christmas, though.
That would be a good client.
How funny would
you're gonna
that be?
repurpose
They're like,
the glory hole.
Right. It's like, oh, well, this is a cute photo op. It's like, it's got eye holes cut, but it's like only
What do
one
people
eye.
normally do in this one?
Yeah. And you're like, well, we had this one job once. It's not a big deal.
Cue
I'm out.
the Brazzers theme.
I'm out. God
Hey,
damn it.
it's in the spirit of Christmas.
Nah,
okay?
he'd probably repurpose that for like the what's the Halloween one you guys do? You still do the one out at the mansion or the museum, right? The Halloween.
Oh yeah, you
thing?
do a
We
haunted
used to.
house.
We stopped the
Oh,
haunted house too because
Oh,
that one
really?
was a lot of work for very little return.
really?
It was more just like a passion project for us, like,
I thought you still did it
barely
last
breaking
year.
even kind of thing.
You didn't do it last year?
But we didn't. No,
I must have been too busy. I didn't realize that you didn't do it. I
we
thought
did
you
some
did.
Halloween parties and some other
Uh-huh.
little things. We did like a Halloween dining experience with that guy and stuff, but nothing. Not like a full haunted house like we did the
Yeah.
previous years.
So
So.
kind of. Well, I got a couple questions, but um, when did the printer come into the? When did the whole idea of like we can get a vinyl cut printer and start doing a lot of really 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 custom stuff like and I know you got a couple now, so when did
So
that come into play?
I guess just pre-pandemic, like I'm talking weeks before it started, I started getting and ordering from a print company that I was working with, like decals for my photo booth for a few events and such. And this is literally like March, like this is fresh. And I put like a YouTube video up on it and such. And we were just starting to get into like more branded events, but I was just outsourcing everything, sending it to a print shop. And but I was at least familiar with that idea and the materials and the machines and stuff. And so then COVID hits, we get into sneeze guards, blah, blah, blah. I needed custom stickers for all the sneeze guards with our logo and like little warning labels and whatever. So we ordered those from the print shop. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, it'd be cool if I had the machine to print this one day, blah, blah, blah. And we just kind of started doing it. And then as sneeze guards started to die out a little bit and the orders slowed down, I was like, reality hit of like, okay, A, people are going to not need these anymore, or
Mm-hmm.
B, everyone's going to have them. One of the two is going to hit at some point.
Yeah.
Will there be some repairs and whatever? Yeah, but not bringing in the type of money that building new ones was. And so um, I was like, I have a feeling one of those is going to happen before events come back. And so, what is the next thing? What can we pivot into? Trying to be proactive about it. And so, to me, the next thing, because I was installing these germ barriers and these sneeze guards at Tropical Smoothie, and somebody came in and was putting down social distancing 6 feet away floor
Oh
markers,
yeah.
stickers. We were installing guards at a pizza place, and someone was putting up a banner in the front window that said curbside pickup, call this number. And so I was like, I could go get a vinyl printer right now that could print banners and stickers, and I could be printing these social distancing floor markers and these banners for the same clients that were doing sneeze guards. I can go back to all of that, all those clients that just ordered sneeze guards, and now offer them signage and make money now. And that's stuff that they're going to constantly want to change and update and replace.
Mm-hmm.
And then when events do come back, now I could print my own photo booth things. I could print my own dance floor wraps. I could print my own graphics and whatnot. And so it was like the next thing that, like, it was the same with sneeze guards. Like, sneeze guards wasn't just a money grab. It was a thing that we wanted to do so that we can build up our tools in our workshop and build up our skills building and fabricating things.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was the same vision with the printer of like, how can we, make money now and, keep the business afloat, but also advance the event side for when
Yeah.
that comes back.
You
And so
use the profits to reinvest into better tools that are going to help you further in your what's eventually going to come
exactly.
back. Smart.
Yep. And so that was when the first printer came about, was still when we were building sneeze guards and stuff. And then we definitely, like, I think we even printed a few batches of stickers for sneeze guards on that printer once we got it and such. So we started using that, and then events came back and we started printing a ton more on it. And then as people heard that we had the printer and they were now coming to us for those types of things for events, we started to realize the limit of that printer. And, as much as it can do, there, is a reason these print shops have 20 different machines. And so then we started looking into it, and we were like, all right, now we need a flatbed printer to service these clients too. For these certain things. Now we need a CNC machine to service them for these machines. And now we need this for this, and so on. And so just over the past like year or so, we added a CNC router that can do full 5x10 sheets, and a flatbed printer that can do full 5x10 sheets. And so we've just been kind of adding to our our tool inventory now. And we've actually been selling off some rental inventory. So like I sold 150 gold ballroom chairs that we had, just to make room for another machine because that's more the direction we're going than rentals. So
Gotcha. So you guys are pivoting out a little bit of rentals and trying to get rid of some of those.
yeah, we're
The stuff that's
keeping,
not kind of corporate
yeah,
stuff that you would use.
exactly. So we're keeping like, I mean, we
Leather
have a
couches and
couple
shit like that.
dozen hedge walls that we have. And like those I won't let go because we have three of them going out to the shop tomorrow that we're branding and adding wood plaques to and stuff and making them totally custom, but they're just off the shelf pieces so that in the normal, we would have to build these for a corporate client and fabricate a hedge wall or whatever. But in most cases, we could talk them into the sizing that we already have or design something around the sizing hedge walls we already have and just
Hmm.
modify them. So there is a lot that's in our inventory, our mini golf course and stuff that we just, we
That
won't get rid of
Yeah.
you
because
just
My
we can
man,
you
use it.
just
my man has a mini
you
golf
just brought up
course.
the question I've been wanting to know is at what point, what's the story of the initial, like, who had the idea? Like, you guys are, I just imagine you guys are sitting around a fire drinking or something, and someone's like, we should buy a mini golf course.
And you're just like, profit.
And you're like, instantly looking up, you're like, we're buying one tomorrow. Like, how, like, I remember literally, okay, this
Let's
is,
make
no,
one.
I knew you would do something good with it, but literally, I watched the first videos I saw in your story of you buying a mini golf course and said, why the fuck is Brandon buying a fucking mini golf course?
That's some Mr. Beast stuff right there.
What's the story
So
behind that?
We're gonna give it away.
it's funny because you guys literally hit everything like right like a nail on the head but and how it went down. I mean, there was like a 2 day period of like we should get a mini golf course searching and having a PO for one. But the story behind it is this was actually another thing boiling during COVID, because so in the background of sneeze guards and all that other stuff, after a year of COVID, so I guess that was what, 2021,
2021. Yeah.
we started working with that museum and we did the haunted house. They wanted to, because the museum was shut down and they wanted to bring some income to the property because they couldn't do museum tours, but they had all this space outdoors. So we kind of brainstormed and we are like, why don't we do a haunted house under a tent? It's socially distant. People don't have to wait in a crowded line inside. People aren't getting backed up inside, whatever. It's outdoors. They can roam around and then we just let a few families through it at a time so that we're not exceeding the capacity and
Yeah.
whatnot. So we did the haunted house. It went extremely well there. And then they were like, let's do Christmas. Let's do Christmas. And so we were like, okay. And this was our first time producing large events of this scale. And this was a partnership directly with the museum. And so we produced everything, built everything, brought all the inventory in. They provided the property, the electric, whatever. And we both collaborated on marketing. So then we did Christmas, and Christmas did very well as well. And so then we were joking around and we're like, what's next? Like Easter? And then, we kind of sat down and we were like, Easter could be interesting. How do we make money on Easter? Like, there's not, you know, pictures with the Easter bunny isn't going to bring in enough for either of us. So we were like, how can we turn this into something? So we actually ended up turning it into more of like a spring event. And we were
Yeah.
like, let's go Candyland themed and we'll call it Vandyland because the museum is Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So they love the idea. They were like, let's do it. What can be like the main attraction? And so then we just started searching like Pinterest boards and everything. We're like Candyland themed events, Candyland themed, blah, blah, blah. And there was actually a Candyland themed mini golf course in, I don't know, somewhere out west. It's a permanent install that like is crazy decorations and everything. And I was like, literally came across it in the meeting on my laptop, and I was like, "What do you guys think of mini golf?" And they were like, "Mini golf, like here? How do we like? We can't just start pouring concrete and like
Yeah. Yeah.
rolling out turf and stuff." And I was like, "No, like I think we could build something." And they're like, "If you think we can make it happen, like sure." And so I was like, give us a day or two and let's go back to our office and start looking it up. So the intent initially was to build and cut
Yeah.
plywood and wrap it in turf and build our own mini golf and obstacles and whatnot for this event. And then probably throw it out after. It was really just for this event. And then one of my guys at the time had started researching it and he's like, portable mini golf course, building a mini golf course, blah, 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 and came across this company that builds and manufactures portable mini golf courses that snap together and you roll out the turf. And it's this whole system that's very popular for like cruise ships and um, hotels and places that like want to set it up for like a season, usually for like the summer season, but take it down in the winter so they don't have to maintain it like you do a full-time mini golf course. And it's a way cheaper build out for them than a full mini golf course with rocks and stuff. So we kind of reached out to them and we're like, hey, we're an event company. We want to get this course and rent it out and such. Can you send us a quote? And they didn't really have any clients that did that, that rented it out every weekend. They're like, I mean, it does come apart into pieces, but I don't know how you guys would transport it and travel and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, all right, well, we'll figure that part out.
Yeah.
Just send us a quote.
Just give
And
it
they
the product.
You just
Yeah,
give them
they-
your
they-
like, if there's a price, it can happen.
Well, so I wasn't at that point yet. And so
I imagine that price
they-
tag came back and you guys were like, "Ooh, wow."
Well, yeah. So my guy at the time had gotten the quote and he showed it to me and I was like, shit. Like
Yeah, I
that is a
imagine.
lot of money. I was like, we're just gonna go to Home Depot and get 2x4s.
Uh-huh.
And then that night I was thinking about it and I'm like, that's a lot of money for that one event for us to produce.
Yeah.
But that's not a lot of money for us to be able to rent this out 10 times a summer, let alone 50 times a summer, 100 times a summer, whatever. So we actually the next day started messaging breweries and hotels and festivals and all these places, sending them pictures off their website saying, hey, we just added this mini golf course to our inventory. Is this something you guys would be interested in having? Blah, 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 whatever. This was before even submitting the PO, placing the order and whatnot.
Yeah, seeing
And
what they want.
just gauging interest. And people were
Surveying.
like, oh my God, can you set this up indoors? Can you set it up out? Like asking questions. And I said to him, I'm like, all right, I'm going to order it today. How many clubs should we get? How many balls should we get? Like which color obstacles, whatever. And we literally ordered it the next day. And
That's
we
hilarious.
used it for that event. It did phenomenal because it was a full-size mini golf course on a mansion property that never existed before. And then we continued to rent it out all season. So it was we just kind of stumbled into it and it's probably one of our top selling services
That's
next to
awesome.
like custom fabricated pieces. And to tie it all together now, like full circle, we send the course out a lot fully customized. Like we just sent out 9 holes to a place in the city for American Express and we themed every hole to a sport. So one of the holes was bowling themed. We actually custom printed turf. We vinyl wrapped the edges and we fabricated a prop that looks like a bowling alley pin system with 2 haunted house motors in it because we learned how to use motors from our haunted house. And the motors lift the pins up and down, so you have to putt through them. So we fabricated all these
Next
crazy
level.
pieces and stuff for it and fully branded this mini golf course.
But you
And,
said
I
American
mean,
Express, right?
Right. Every time you
Yeah,
shoot the ball,
Amex.
it just
I heard,
knocks it from the hole.
I heard AMX.
It just knocks the ball away from the hole, and it's like your card's not good here. They're like,
Yeah.
sorry, we don't
Please
take
swipe.
Amex.
Please swipe. Yeah.
One of those lame businesses that doesn't accept AMX. I want to fucking kill them. Costco. Costco.
Cleveland
but yeah,
Terry in
so-
the chat.
Cleveland
Why does
Terry's in the
Brandon look
chat.
like he's trying to climb out of a lake? Out of the lake? Is it you mean maybe because his camera's like
Oh, because
aimed
it's
up?
bouncing around.
Oh yeah.
Oh, who
Either
knows?
that or it's bouncing around.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you what, though. You must have a really good jawline. If I had a camera aimed the way yours is, I just look like Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, nothing but a bulge here.
You know what I mean? You'd be like, who the fuck is this?
Give him 5 years. Let's see
Shrek-looking
what he looks
dude.
like in 5 years.
yeah, he's young. Yeah, he's
Fair enough.
like he's the man, but he's young. Let me tell you.
What are you now, Brandon? 23?
24. Just turned 24 a few weeks ago. Or last week.
Props. Finally getting up there.
Rick, you're like
Yeah, I know.
25.
Almost a quarter of the way there.
Nice.
28, dog.
Whatever. 25, 28.
I got 4.
25.
Whatever.
Brandon graduated high school this time. I graduated college, so put that. There you go.
Whatever.
But he's killing it. Working with AMX, Jesus. Beauty of working in big downtown New York. No, that's it makes a lot of sense when you put it in that perspective on the mini golf course, because like literally just what you said. Where the fuck would I go rent a mini golf course from for my event?
Mhm. It
Nowhere.
doesn't exist,
It
and
doesn't
I honestly
exist.
would have never have thought it would be as popular of like a search, let alone actually booking it, but as popular of a search on Google as it actually is. I mean, we really, like, no exaggeration, just with SEO, not even paid Google, um, we get about 3 to 5 leads a day for golf, just golf.
That's nuts. Rick is
What?
going to
Now,
buy a mini golf course
I
tomorrow.
not 5 of them are booking because we are very expensive for
Mhm.
our golf course because it is a lot of work to send out, and because we'd rather send it out for the corporate ones than cheaper for a backyard one and risk it
yeah.
getting scratched up or
Damage.
damaged or whatever. So so because of that, we are, and we understand our place in the market, that like it is expensive, and so 9 out of 10 people don't book it, but the one that books it makes it worth it for us to have it. So but because, with that said, I mean, we do, like, I mean, when you search, I think mini golf, portable mini golf, anywhere in the US, let alone like East Coast, I think we're like one of the top ones that comes up. And so we do get a lot of leads for that.
I was about to say how many times you've been sending quotes for like destination, like they want it in fucking Florida, or they want it in Kentucky, or they want it in Cali.
We actually had a job that was like very, very close to going through in California,
Really?
in
Jesus.
like Hollywood area in a mall, and it was 18 holes of golf with fabricated pieces. We were gonna have to send an 18 wheeler just with our stuff across,
Holy shit.
um, and the event was 2 weeks away. And I said, it's a week transport with an 18 wheeler. We don't have time to build these things. Like, all I could do is throw golf in a truck and send it out now,
Yeah.
and that barely leaves us any room for error too. I'm like, I'm just not too comfortable with it, and they didn't have their assets ready and stuff, and so we couldn't make it happen. But I mean, their budget
Was
worked
good.
for it. Like, we could
Yeah.
have done it, but timeline didn't work out on that one. So we've quoted golf to other states. It is expensive. So it's like, if you're going to pay more for the transport of it there and back than you will for the actual rental of the golf course. And so for most people, it's not worth it for it to leave like the tri-state area.
Yeah.
We've sent it to Delaware. We had it in Delaware for Barclays Center for their headquarters. We have 3 holes going to Boston next week for a corporate company, but really, like, East Coast is where we stick to with it.
3 holes, is that more like a just a gimmick sort of thing? Like trying to
So
just
that one's actually for a trade show. It's for
oh
a corporate company. They do like accounting software and development and stuff, but it was just like their theme, that for their trade show booth, they're
yeah.
doing 3 small holes that are very like branded and themed with their logo and everything. And they're basically just like letting guests putt around while they learn about it. So
Yeah, just something to talk to him about.
mhm.
Just like you're on the golf course talking and chit chatting. I can see that, yeah. Man. That kind of reminds me, just in general, like when you talk about Cali, um, there's a lot of like photographers and videographers I've met that like have built a solid business. They live here on the East Coast, but they built a solid destination photography business out of flying to California, photographing weddings and events, flying back, and their price point is cheaper than the photographers in California.
Mhm.
But they're still making more than what they would here in North Carolina, and they're getting a free vacation out of
Mm.
it
Yeah, that's true.
because of just the limited amount of photographers that are good or whatever have it. But I remember my ex boss when I was in Ohio back in the day. He mentioned that to me, and he was like, "Ricky, help me figure out how we can do this for DJs, because we need to figure out how we can do that for DJs." And I was like, "We got a lot more equipment to deal with, man. I don't know if that's possible."
That's a lot. Yeah. Yeah, we've quoted out some crazy stuff to leave and travel and transport and stuff, and it's one of those things that, like, until you get in with an agency that really, really trusts you and only you and just wants to work with you, to bring you around to those places with them, it's tough, because for the average person who, like, they're trying you as a new company to do that in another state is not practical because they could just try a new company in that state and it's way cheaper.
Right.
It's when they try you in your state, like for an event in New York City for a company that's going to have events in other states,
Mhm.
and you knock it out of the park where they're like, wow, there were no issues. We want them to come to these other states with us because we don't want to deal with trying new vendors or whatnot.
Yep. Um,
So, and unfortunately for them, it usually comes with, the point of them having a bad experience or,
mhm.
having a catastrophe at an event that they,
Can't afford.
you know,
It's
they can't afford. Yeah.
in terms of the reputation, they
Hmm.
can't afford that as an agency. At the top of the hour, I don't want to skip over. You do have a whole company that sells stuff that potentially DJs and stuff would want or need out there. Um, is there do you guys have a website set up for that? Can people order it directly, or is it just at like the DJX show?
Yeah. So, we do have a website. It's just redmaxproducts.com. We have some of our photo booth prop packs on there that you could check out with right on the site and we'll get them shipped out to you. And then we have like some staging, cocktail tables, and the other stuff we build as well on there. That stuff usually requires a custom shipping quote based on the quantity, but the info is all kind of on there.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be over the next few months adding a ton of new photo booth prop packs and even some other new products as well that could be helpful for DJs. And we'll be probably releasing those mostly at DJ Expo, but kind of like soft releasing them onto the website as well.
Yeah.
But we do everything custom. So if anyone wants custom photo booth props with their company logo or whatnot as well, we could do so.
So yeah, if you guys are listening right now or you're watching the video side of things, if you need photo booth props or if you need something custom, hit up Brandon. I guarantee he can figure out how to fucking do it because these guys have figured out
everything else.
Yeah,
Jesus
exactly.
Christ. He figured out shit you'd have never thought of, so he probably things you can think of. I need a fucking hard. So you know how Chevet, this super quick. You know how
Go ahead.
Chevet came out with that hard case for the gig bar finally recently. I don't know if you saw that, but they need it for all the other lights they have. The 4-bar, because that's what we all fucking use. We don't
I'm
use
just gonna
gig
be a
bars.
real
Gig bars
DJ.
are lame.
I'm just gonna be a real DJ over here and be like, if you're using a gig bar, I mean,
Well, I'm not. It's just a 4-bar. It's the
Oh,
worst
it's
version.
the worst version.
Yeah, I need a hard
no,
case for the
low-key-
worst version.
low key, the 4-bar is way better than the fucking gig bar.
It is. It's
I
not
mean,
cheap. It doesn't make you look like you're DJing in a Spencer's. You know,
the gig bar literally screams Spencer's.
it really.
I have every Spencer light just in one bar.
Yeah. Right. It's got like a bubble machine on it. Like, what the fuck is this thing doing? Why?
That's the next gig bar coming out. The gig bar bubble machine.
It has like a laser light and a bubble machine.
No, we need one
and
with
a tip jar.
I want one with the touch little electro thing where you can touch it in like the,
Right.
the,
Yeah.
the
And
globe
it
with
sticks
the
to
electro.
your hands.
It
Like
sticks-
the lightning sticks
lava
to your
lamp?
fa-
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, or yeah,
The-
and some lava
yeah.
lamps. Oh my god.
Two lava lamps.
All right.
But anyways, oh my god. So, you're gonna be at DJX, right?
We will be there. Yep. We'll
Awesome.
have a booth.
So, if you guys are not already going to DJX, I would say we would all here highly recommend going to DJX. From what we can understand now, it's the biggest DJ convention we have. Period. To go to.
It's a good one. I mean, it's unique. It's unique, you know.
So-
and we will all be there. So
Eric will be there. Brandon will be there. Brandon will have a whole booth for all the photo booth props and customary stuff, and you can talk to him about custom stuff. I'll have a booth there. We'll be doing both lighting, all that good stuff. So yeah, it'd be a good time. Maybe we can do a live podcast. We've been talking about this.
something like that. We'll see what's up.
I know the internet is considerably shitty when it comes to Atlantic City, so not sure if it'll be a video live podcast, but we might be able to put something together. We'll see. Maybe we'll pre-record it. Anyways, Brandon, if people want to contact you, reach out to you, talk some shit and stuff like that, where would they go?
Facebook or Instagram works. Just my name, search Brandon Havrilla, should come up. If you want to reach me, that's the easiest way is do my personal pages. Don't call my company office phone or
Please
office
don't.
email.
God.
Good luck.
Yeah, so that's the easiest way. Just search my name on Instagram or Facebook.
I'm
and
gonna
shoot me a
back.
message.
I'm gonna back Brandon on that. If you want to get blacklisted from me ever wanting to talk from you, don't call my company. You can call both lighting because Marcel's pick up that number, but don't call Fusion.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, you can call my event company, but you're probably gonna be told I'm in a meeting. So
Right.
call myself, and I won't
As
be in a
per
meeting.
the instructions you have given them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
exactly. Awesome. Well, thanks, Brandon, so much for being on tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys are listening
Thank you,
right
guys.
now, make sure you go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, check out Brandon and all of his sources. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week, and we'll be doing a solo podcast, just me and Eric. That was pretty popular last time, so not sure what the hell we're going to talk about. I don't think we'll ever really be sure what the hell we're going to talk about, but it's going to be a fun time. So tune in next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or if you want to listen to it after the fact, of course, it's always available on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Eric, any last words?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Good night. Good night. Peace out.